You know, I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I'm really not. But I'm also not the most ignorant. I love my country. I love the United States of America. I love my family. I do. I love all my kids. I love all my grandkids. I have thought seriously about leaving the United States of America. I'm starting to feel old with all the argument that's going on now in our country right now. I'm starting to feel old with it all. Is that what the leaders of this country want? Is for good Americans such as myself to get tired, to get so worn down that we just fold to your demands, Congress? Secret leaders, whoever you are? Is that what you want? I'm tired because I care. I pay attention to the news, unlike a lot of people I know who don't pay any damn attention to the news, who just don't seem to care, who just go on about their daily lives as though nothing's going to happen. And I have that fear that they are going to be surprised by what could happen any day. Look, we know that the Founding Fathers gave us certain rights in our Constitution that Americans are not going to allow corrupt leaders to take from us. Just not going to happen. So the argument needs to stop about the Second Amendment particularly. We're going to keep our arms. You're not going to take them from us. So that argument needs to stop. But let's talk about the shootings in our schools and the insanity of these people, like the guy at Las Vegas that somehow got a small arsenal and went up to the Las Vegas casino and shot up a bunch of people. That's insane. There's no other word for it. But that's a very rare thing, that particular instance. But let's talk about the schools for a minute. Let's talk about our youth. What is happening that is programming our children, and I say programming because that's what's happening. There are people who might want to argue that we're born with some aptitude toward violence, perhaps. But it's the programming in our families and in our schools and in our churches and in our civic organizations that are teaching our kids to take life. I'm not sure which generation this started with, because when you ask my kids, they're not going to tell you that they don't have value in life, that they've ever thought about going in and shooting up a school. But these younger kids now, what's going on in their heads? What has gotten them to the point where they would be prompted, where they would take action to go get mommy and daddy's guns, or their own guns, because mommy and daddy gave them guns, and go into a school and shoot up a bunch of people? So perhaps it's bullying. Perhaps these people in school were bullied, which seems to be the case in some of them, most of them, I guess, where they seem to be, smart kids. Parents keep saying they were so wonderful. They were so quiet. We had no idea. I don't care what the parents say. Arrest them. That's my thought on it. Any kid who goes into a high school or middle school and starts shooting up the school and killing people, the parents need to be held accountable. Arrest the parents as accomplices. We have gotten to the point in our country where we are too lenient with parents in their parenting. Those parents need to be held responsible for the actions of their kids. You cannot sit back and say, oh, we can't blame the parents. This kid was 17. Well, you're going to try him as an adult, probably. You're going to charge him with capital murder, because I think they killed with capital murder. Or with murder, premeditated. So who are you going to hold accountable for that kid suddenly at 17 years old deciding to go start killing people? We should be totally disturbed by that behavior and that outcome of your parenting. Parent, did you not discipline your kid properly? Did you not spank that kid when he needed spanking? Or did you go, time out? Let's put you in time out. You hit your brother's hand with a hammer, so let's put you in time out. There's something wrong with that. I think that we are getting way too relaxed with how we discipline our kids, if I may be so bold. Because I don't mind telling you that we disciplined our kids, and we weren't harsh with it. I think my kids got swatted maybe, I don't know, a couple of times each in their whole lifetime. Enough to know that when they did something really wrong, there was pain associated with it. So that they understood that it was wrong, that it hurt when you did things. And so maybe that was instilling in them that, look, when you do things to other people, it hurts. Hold the parents accountable, law enforcement. We need to tell these parents, hey, guess what? You're under arrest. Until we understand why your child did what they did, and we understand how we can rethink our parenting, we need to make a case study out of you. You need to understand what your parents did to program your kid to create this monster. Or are we being too crude or too traditional in our thinking about our parenting? Hold the parents accountable, law enforcement. I want to know how many of you would be willing to share this and like it with a thumbs up. Share it. Let it go viral, perhaps. If you agree that perhaps the parents need to be held to a standard, not to a standard, be held accountable for allowing their kid to, first of all, get a hold of a firearm in the wrong way and carry out murder in the wrong way. To me, the parents are culpable. The parents are accomplices through association with that kid that just went in there and shot at those kids and those teachers. In every instance, the parents need to be held accountable. Because let me tell you something. If we start doing that, if we start holding those parents accountable and responsible for the actions of their kids, I bet you one thing, I bet you the guns are going to be controlled better. The kids are going to have a harder time getting a hold of those guns. You see a whole lot less kids walking around carrying guns into schools and shooting people. Because if parents are going to jail for the action of their kids, guess what? Parents are not going to let themselves go to jail for the actions of their kids. You may even see parents stop giving their kids guns. What do you think about that? Okay? Put the exercise of the Second Amendment in the hands of the people that are holding the firearms and holding them responsible for the actions of the people that they're giving access to firearms to. Here's another one for you. The school where this kid went in and shot up, perhaps there's some culpability from the school. Perhaps that school has some responsibility and accountability for what went on with that student. Perhaps that kid chose that school because that kid was feeling some severe pain from something going on in that school. perhaps teachers who were telling that kid he stunk, or kids who were pushing that kid around, girls who maybe wouldn't date that kid because he smelled funny or looked funny or whatever. Maybe they need to be coached a little bit. Maybe they need to be held a little bit accountable. Maybe that school needs to be shut down and not reopened until there is a full assessment of what caused that kid to go in there and take out his anger on those kids and those teachers. Why is that school reopened? Or is it? I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know. But I don't know what they're doing to really get to the bottom of what happened in that school to help contribute to this kid going in there and shooting it up. But what I want to know is why the argument continues to be over gun control. Gun control, gun control, gun control. Reasonable gun control. What about reasonable parental control? What about reasonable school processes and procedures? Where's that? I don't hear anybody talking about that. I don't hear anybody saying a damn word about the parents and what they've been doing. I want that public. I want a news story about the parents in every case. Let's stop pussyfooting around about this. It's not the guns, okay? It's not the NRA. It's not the people that sell the guns or manufacture the guns. It's the parents. It's the schools and perhaps the churches and the other civic organizations that are contributing to the thinking of this kid. That's where you need to take your argument. That's where you need to find the answers. So when you do that, then maybe we'll get somewhere. Until you do that, we're going to continue having this argument. And if you take the guns away, fine. Let's take that as an example. You take everybody's guns away. And the same things keep happening. The parents keep being lackadaisical with the way they parent, the way they teach the discipline to their kids, the way that they school their kids, the way they teach their kids about how wrong violence is, about how bullying is wrong, about how being a redneck or an asshole or a racist or whatever, or being homophobic or whatever is wrong, or whatever. Let's say you take everybody's guns away, but all the behaviors are still there. All the failures in the school system are still there. You think that kid's not going to find another way to reach out and mess people up? You think he's not going to maybe make a bomb or some kind of blow that school up? You think he's not going to find some other way? Think again, okay? Let's take it to the source. Take it to the source, leaders. Stop politicizing guns and start politicizing the behavior. That's where you'll get to the bottom of it. Thank you. Love you. I hope people will hear me, because I really do care. It breaks my heart to see this going on. It really does. I'm not a gun advocate. I'm not into that at all. What I am into is finding out what the real source of this is, and I'm tired of hearing politicians politicize this every time it happens. I don't hear you talking shit about the parents, about the schools, and about the behaviors that are going on behind the scenes that are causing these things to happen. Get to the core of the issue.